What do you think of the trend lately of running a red dot optic on a handgun? Is there a fit? I guess what they're saying by fit is there a need for it in law enforcement? Is it proper for cops to have a red dot on the pistol? I'm going to give you guys my thoughts real quick, and then I'm going to let you go at it. I don't have any problem with a red dot on a pistol. But what many people need to understand is it's not like a red dot on a rifle, where it's already shouldered, you bring it up, you know where the red dot's going to be. On the pistol, it's kind of out there floating more than it is on the carbine. I don't think the red dot on a pistol solves the problems that many people think they do, but at the same time, I understand its simplistic sighting capabilities. So the way I look at it is I really don't much care, but what do you guys think?
I think that's the future. I think we're going more and more to that.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have a redundancy of backup sights, of iron sights on there, and there's some...
So much like the carbine.
You either have, yeah, exactly. You either have suppressor sights, which are obviously taller, that you can see through the window of the optic, or you have something where it's an optic that's mounted maybe through the, like a Duick Defense optic, which which the optic sits on, and there's a front sight right in front of the window of the optic, and the rear sight is here. So the sight radius is very short. I thought, well, that may be an issue trying to aim the pistol at
Sight
distance.
radius on every pistol short.
And I'll tell you what, at 15 yards, you can't tell a difference between if the sights are here or they're, it's inconsequential.
I agree. What do you think, Wes?
Well, and on that, you know, even the Shield, the UK system that is small enough to actually co-witness with factory sights, I think there's a plus, and I think there are people, and this is like this with any product. There are people that have gained a level of proficiency with it that are on the argument for it immediately because they're good with it. But from our perspective, dealing with the masses, where many people aren't, and you've got departments. I mean, look at just something as simple as weapons-mounted lights. You've got the vast majority of agencies issue or authorize, but nobody's been trained on how to use it.
Sure.
And we run into more problems on the range. I've got more images of a TLR laying on the ground at somebody's feet because it fell off their gun in the middle of a volley of fire. We're gonna run into issues where we're gonna get to the point where, well, I'll get guys with a rifle class that will show up with no backup sights on a red dot mounted rifle. Well, I don't need them, I got a red dot. Well, what happens when the battery dies?
Yeah.
What happens when you have a failure of that red dot?
Or it's raining and you can't see very clearly through the window.
You drop
Exactly.
it and break it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's without the actual redundancy and then forcing that redundancy. We do in-service for a local agency who said, well, I've qualified my red dot. Okay, well, take the red dot off and let's run the iron sights. Well, I've never zeroed my iron sights. How can you not have ever zeroed your iron sights? Well, they didn't make us do it.
That's like I didn't check the brakes on my car, or I didn't see
Well, it
if
had
the
brake fluid in it when I bought it.
Yeah.
There's also a
Jeez.
considerable
Good
learning
God.
curve when you're transitioning to red dot. There is a considerable learning curve if you've been used to training on traditional sights. It's not just that this is going to make it easier immediately. It makes it easier once you're used to it. But like when I punch out with a pistol with a red dot, I find myself having to dip the muzzle to see the red dot. And that doesn't happen with iron sights. But there's a transition, it takes practice. You can't just put a red dot on and think that you're immediately gonna pick it up faster. And it cracks me up that people that say, well, look at the iron sights and then you'll see the red dot. Well, then why the hell do I have a red dot?
Yeah.
Well, it's the...
Well, before you go on though, part of your problem is you can't shoot for crap. Now, go ahead, Russ, I apologize.
Well, be that as it may.
Yeah.
You can't say crap.
Feces. Fecal. Guano.
Why do you think I teach
Go for it now.
shooting?
Go for it now.
Think about way back in the day, and to some who will see this, they've never seen anything other than this. But back when we had other handguns besides Glock,
There was a time when that was the case?
trust me, we know a time.
Remember double action, single action?
I know.
There's people trying to bring that back.
Now, I never had to load down the muzzle though.
Yeah.
But that's so.
You're talking to hair gel over there. So okay, go ahead.
But the first time anybody fired a Glock, picked up a Glock and shot it, everybody looked at a Glock like this because of the way the grip angle was positioned in their hands.
Yeah.
So there was a transition from one device to another device, and it's like we've forgotten that. Oh, they're all the same. They are far from the same. And if you look at any of the modifications that anybody will do to a Glock, and most of it's aftermarket, very seldom is it at a department level, because there's this thing about altering a factory gun that somehow creates heightened liability. But we're all trying to make a Glock or an M&P or a Steyr or an FN. We're trying to turn this plastic gun into the same ergonomics of a 1911, so that immediately when it comes out of a holster, you're looking immediately across the top of the gun.
Well, I want to throw that out. You just brought up a kind of a pet peeve for me, like the not modifying our gun. You were around for wheel guns.
Without a doubt. I still own my wheel gun.
You did 3 things. You changed the grip because that bell-shaped grip didn't match your hand. Does anybody's hand get longer at the bottom? No, but they look good on the gun. So you changed the grip, you put different sights on it, and you did an action job, because all of those interacting parts made for the glitchiest, crunchiest crap. If you cared about shooting your revolver, you did those 3 things. But now suddenly, if we do those things on a pistol, it's
Oh, you can't.
Why do I feel like I'm in a
Liability.
Western movie right now with
got
you
a
talking
set
about revolvers?
I got a set of Hogues or a set of Packmeyers as soon as I could, because the senior guys had it. And it changed everything about the way I shot.
and you put the gun, yeah,
Absolutely.
it changed everything.
And the only thing I did on my 19 is I got rid of the plastic orange blade on the front blade, and I went back to a blue blade on it.
You're not
Okay.
talking about a
That's
Glock
it.
19.
So anyway,
A Model 19 was a 4-inch barreled Smith & Wesson revolver with a round thing that held the bullets.
And
You forget I'm a gun writer.
and when you pulled the trigger, 158 grains of basically the size of a Volkswagen came out of the muzzle of that thing.
Yeah, those were the days, weren't they?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but suddenly, all of a sudden, if we set up our pistol to fit us,
Right.
it's terrible. And I had a guy look at my Glock 19, which I have a grip reduction because of what you just said. It shoots high for me if I don't.
Right.
Oh, well, you just modified it. You're going to have liability. But what about the pistols with interchangeable backstraps? Oh, because the factory did that.
And everybody
It's
changes the
okay.
sights.
Right.
Everybody on a Glock, who uses stock Glock sights?
Well, you have to change
Only
it
if
because the
you're an
front sight always
idiot.
falls off.
They're plastic.
Also,
Glock tells you to change the sights on it.
Well, to their sights, because the rest will void the warranty.
Well, yeah, okay. You're,
but where you're really going to
killing
go
me,
wrong,
Smalls. You're killing me.
where you're going to go wrong is when you put some kind of sticker or some nonsense on your gun that doesn't make it easier to shoot, but just makes it look cooler. That's where you're going to run into problems.
Are we doing an enhancement, or are we doing a modification? Because I think there's a difference. You know what? I had a guy come up to me at a class and look at my new 1911, and it had an engraving down the slide
That's all. that
Kill
made
'em
the
all.
difference.
of the Grim Reaper pulling his victims behind him on a chain wrapped around their heads. And
What
I'm like,
could possibly
Wait,
go
wait,
wrong
wait.
with that?
Wait, who did the engraving? Can you give me
I
the
don't,
email
I don't
address?
know. He just showed it to me.
That's pretty cool.
But
No, but it's like the aftermarket triggers. There isn't a SWAT team that doesn't have a bolt gun or a semi-auto that hasn't had an aftermarket trigger
Thank
installed
you.
in it. But
Thank you.
You look at a Glock or an M&P or even a SIG that are our 3 primary duty pistols that are out there, and the minute anybody suggests an aftermarket trigger,
it's
you can't-
liability.
That's liability. And you've got at least 1, if not 2, of the aftermarket trigger companies that are as safe and as rock solid, that do nothing more to the gun except remove excess travel
and
out of the trigger.
truly enhance.
Truly enhanced.
Yes.
You better be able to articulate any modifications that you make to your gun.
Bingo.
Are to enhance your ability to shoot it. You want
need
to do
show
look cool
it
stuff
enhanced my ability to perform with this firearm.
because that's more responsible.
Well, the 3 of us are comfortable on the witness stand because we've done it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that scares the crap out of them because, lawyers are going to twist your words. There is truly a difference between enhancing your firearm and modifying it because it looks cool. I'm going to give you a real quick story and I'm going to move on. I had a guy that was showing me his pistol and the sights that were on it, and I'm, wow, them sights are pretty tall. He says, yeah, man, but it looks so good in pictures. Dude, you're looking at that from the wrong angle. You need to be looking at that gun from behind. But people are enamored with how their pistol looks in an Instagram picture.
But see, here's where we've gone wrong as a group, is enhancement. If that enhancement was effective and in a shooting that you were involved in, every round that you jettisoned from that gun went into an intended target, there's not a question. It's when those rounds go someplace else that suddenly, it's like, well, it only happened because you enhanced that gun.
Yep.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so that goes back to training.
But let me ask you something. I'm going to throw this out at you. Where did the lawyers of the world get the idea of going after enhancements on firearms? It didn't come from the legal community. Where'd it come from? People in the gun community.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.